Welcome to this video today. I'd like to be able to introduce Jeremy, a part of our 5-Pencil Method team.
Hey everybody, it's good to be back with you for this third and final video in our series.
And I'd just like to be able to express my thanks and excitement over the comments and questions that you've turned in.
Yeah, it's been really great to have such positive feedback and just to see how much interest there is in the art of drawing. It's been kind of fun to go through all that stuff. And we're going to have Daryl answer some more questions in just a minute, but first I want to recap what we've checked out in these last two videos. In our first video we talked about what it is that really gets people going about portrait drawing. And like I said, we noticed that there were several themes as we were going through the results that you guys turned in. And one of the first main theme we saw was satisfaction. You just felt utter satisfaction from drawing or giving your drawings to someone as a gift or just seeing that face come to life on a piece of paper. And another major theme was the creative process. You loved the creative process of drawing, taking your pencil in your hand and just drawing a life on a piece of paper. A lot of people said it was even therapeutic. Pain would disappear and they would forget about stress and things that may have been bothering them throughout the day. And the third major theme that we saw was personality. People loved the fact that they could pick up a pencil and a paper and draw a personality on a piece of paper. They could capture those unique angles, those unique characteristics that really make that person who they are. And they just enjoyed that. And then in the second video yesterday, Daryl shared some of the tools and techniques that he's learned from his many years as an artist and illustrator for drawing skin textures, realistic skin textures that replicate what you see in real life, whether it be smooth skin, freckles, blemishes, wrinkles, things like that, things that can really kick your drawing up a notch. And then we left you hanging. we posed the question, what is realism? And that's a question that we get quite a bit around here. And Daryl, if it's okay with you, I think we can take a little time to address that. And I've got a few questions that I can ask you, and we'll go from there.
Sure, go ahead.
All right. Well, the first question we get all the time is, what is realism? I mean, what is it and how is it achieved?
Well, I think realism is not so much about detail. It's great to be able to accomplish detail in your drawings and know how to do it. Have the technical skills to be able to duplicate or replicate something. But it's not always the most important aspect of capturing realism. I think that one of the things that I can help with often is to show those things that our minds are looking for that we may not realize, such as depth, being able to see distance, to be able to address proportion, and even perspective. Because when perspective is off, it's such a solid rule. Our minds must see it. When we see it contrary to what it's supposed to be, we know there's something wrong, and it just takes away from that wonderful feeling, I can understand that. I can identify with that. That's what I'm used to seeing. So even on the simplest levels, realism can be achieved. And it's not so much, again, about being able to put every single detail in your drawing, but what you put there actually follows the very, very solid principles of what our minds need to see to interpret something.
So based on that definition, would you call what you do realistic art?
I like realism. It's one of my favorite things. I would consider what I do an effort to capture realism. I want to have something that you can really, the viewer, can really identify with and connect with. And so there's things like you're being able to establish a focus when somebody's looking at you in the drawing. Having that feeling you're really connecting. And beyond that, I want to be able to put the amount of detail that is going to enhance or complement the drawing. If it's going to be a distraction, take over what I'm trying to accomplish in helping you have a good sense of who this person is, then I would probably minimize it, even eliminate it. Not everything you see is really important to put in a drawing. although there are many things that it's nice to be able to understand how to accomplish it technically and be able to add those things into the drawing. So I would consider what I do realistic, and I guess there's no limit to how much detail that I might put into my drawing, but on the other hand, I realize that detail is not as important as, again, helping the mind accept this as something believable, and having those fundamentals and those wonderful principles, those solid principles of light direction and all those different things be consistent.
Okay, very good. And this this might be the $1 million question, but so many people ask, how or what is the secret to drawing realistically? Is there magic in your pencils? What are some of the key elements that you apply to your drawings to make them the most realistic as possible?
Yeah, well, I think I probably covered that a little bit, but on the other hand, I don't always make the right decisions initially. I don't think any of us could. That's why I like to do things with my pencils that allow me to make changes and to be able to assess things as I go along. So there's some modification, adjustments, even wholesale changes that I want to be able to do in my drawing without having to worry about throwing it away. And so the amount of pressure that I use with pencils is very standardized. Even though there's a range of pressure, I still have a limit. And I want to be able to, again, make those little adjustments, or maybe lighten up a value, or even go darker, knowing which pencil to use, and not have to worry about burnishing the surface and taking away some of the wonderful opportunities I have to capture texture and things like that, like we discussed in the last video. So my pencils aren't magic, it's just knowing how to use them. It's amazing what they can do. A simple pencil can accomplish so much, taking advantage of the aspects of your paper, the texture and the tooth, understanding it. So practice is going to make a big difference on my decision-making process, or just automatically handling it in a certain way so I can have the outcome that I want.
Yeah, it always amazes me how much you can accomplish with just a pencil.
And look what our students too are just accomplishing tremendous things that they never expected, to be able to do, and some of them starting from absolutely no experience at all. So it's just really exciting to see.
Exactly, and I think you have some examples of student artwork there that you can maybe you can show us some of these things you've been talking about in their artwork, and let us get a first-hand look at it.
Yeah. Here's one from Jackie. Jackie has been working and raising a family, and that stood in the way of her being able to get really involved in her art, and yet she loved art. Now, recently retired, she's drawing portraits, and that's become a favorite pastime. And so you can understand why, when she's able to accomplish things that, again, have depth, have a good contrast, although this isn't going to be perfect over the camera, it'll still give you an idea of what she's been able to accomplish by making sure that this beard isn't becoming a part of the shirt because she has nice clean edges and she knows how to use her contrast. And to be able to take in consideration the light direction, and taking in consideration a reflective light, and all these things in this project of the Mulligan Man became a wonderful opportunity for them to address many different things: balance, composition, and some things that you may not really feel that comfortable with initially, but you can come up with textures and different things that they've used in here. And also catching, like we talked about in the last video, I think, the ethnic quality of this man. Not so much that he's black, but he has black features. And obviously put a little more value, but this is also just a separation from two light sources. So even on a lighter skinned person, we might very well have this division here. And it gives a wonderful contour and depth and reality to this drawing. So I just think it's just wonderful. So many other ones too. This is Christine, which is started, from the very basics, and she's doing some wonderful things. I have a chance to see her work every week and continually guide her along on the important things that she may look for. I wish I could show you a before and after. It's just amazing. And she's learning many of the same things. How to create separation between the elements, and she's working on her proportion and working on angles that create an attitude and a believable representation of this person. And so I'm just so proud of her. She's a nursing home assistant, and she spends her free time honing her skills drawing and just loves it. Let's go ahead and go to Gail here. She's another one that this is her first portrait. That's got to be exciting. Now, again, I'm sure that her contrast and her values are quite a bit better in the actual drawing, and sometimes the print doesn't always do it justice, but I think this is just a wonderful drawing. Can you imagine this is her first drawing, her first portrait? And so she's been able to put together all the things that she's been learning and now create something that actually connects with people, and learning how to, again, gain that depth and the separation, the right contrast between one side and the other, taking into consideration where the highlights should be, and to, really establish the light direction and getting into other textures. She's just starting still, and yet look at what she's been able to do from just a basic drawing skill. Now, this next one is Kathleen. And Kathleen has been a mother for 28 years and stay-at-home mom. And now that one of her boys has gotten old enough to be out of the house, or the youngest one is out of the house, I guess, she's turned her attention to drawing in hopes of one day making it a business. And if she keeps going the way she is, even now, I think she's probably getting some requests for some commissions. It's always exciting when somebody thinks enough of your work to be able to ask you to, would you do one for me? And to be able to have at least an opportunity to make some money at it. Take some time, usually, to work up a business on any level. But in art, you just need some exposure and need to be able to make sure that people can see your work and fall in love with it and identify with the fact that you were able to accomplish capturing this personality and this character. So when you have a real interesting character, it really helps. And you see she's also been able to do some great things by separating, cheeks from collars and foreheads from the brim of the hat, and capturing and learning how to do the hair, making sure that it is not in a negative. And what I mean by negative is so often people will go and try to accomplish drawing hair by just making a bunch of lines and expecting that to be hair, when really there is a conflict here, because really down in between the hairs it should be darker. And so we learn how to go ahead and take opportunities to create a darker space in between in the right place, so that now this all becomes something lighter out in front. And it's just little tiny things like that that you may not think about sometimes, and it ends up by creating something that is a conflict in our minds, because we think, wow, we're looking down through the hair, but why is it white? Why is it a light color? And so it's really nice to be able to have that opportunity to go down in between hairs and create that depth and that dimension. And those are the things that she's learned how to do. She's learned how to be able to create that thickness to the beard, and in layering it, being able to come up with something that has more highlight where the light is landing on the thicker part of it. And so anyway, it's just really exciting watching all of these students. Let's look at another one here. This is Dana. Dana has basically started from a very basic, in fact, hadn't really drawn much at all, had always wanted to. And look at what he's been able to accomplish. And the wonderful thing about some of these is that he is developing his own style. Even though they're all learning, everyone's learning some of the same basic skill sets, and they're looking for some of the same things, it doesn't make any difference how much you try to copy somebody else's work or emulate it. You're still going to come up with your own style. And people are just loving this, because it just has a warm, personal feel to it. He's an appliance repairman in Tennessee, and he's just an enthusiastic student of graphite drawing because of what he's been able to accomplish. I have one more here. Let's look at Barbara LaChapelle. And Barbara's a proud grandmother from California. Barbara loved drawing in high school, but stopped until about a year ago. And I find that's the case with so many people. They have to set it aside for so many reasons. Sometimes they just, maybe got discouraged early on. Maybe somebody even discouraged them or put them down, told them they didn't have much talent, or it wasn't a good career choice. All kinds of reasons why they may have set it aside. Even going to school and learning art, sometimes they just don't tell you how to apply it in a practical way. And so they end up by having to set it aside until way late in the game. But it's exciting that somebody at some point in their life has picked up the pencil again and now had a chance to learn how to express themselves with just a set of pencils and some paper and an eraser. And so I'm so excited that these people have taken that opportunity, young or old, regardless of who they are, what talents they had, whether you're a grandmother or you're an appliance salesman or you're just retired and finally have the opportunity. I'm glad to be able to have suggested, why don't you try drawing? And you can do the same thing with others too. Now, we have a DVD set coming, coincidentally, with this particular project. And it's quite an intensive course. And I think that it addresses enough things that you can go out quite confident to be able to take on a lot of different subjects. But anyway, it's coming out on this very project. So I'll let Jeremy go ahead and say a couple things.
Yeah, Daryl, it was pretty cool just going through just those examples you have there. It may be the same subject, but it's really neat to see everybody's unique take on it. Each drawing is different, so it's cool to see that even though they're drawing the same portrait, it's not just a photocopy. Everyone's personality and everyone's skill level really shines through, and that's really cool.
Yeah. Isn't it wonderful that they find their own individuality in expressing these things? Yeah. Even though they're all taking the course, it's so exciting. You can't take away your individual approach to it.
Right. And like Daryl said, this project is going to be available on July 30, actually, and it's one of our biggest projects yet. I think there were something like 22 lessons that all built on each other and ended in this incredible portrait experience. And on top of that, we'll be giving away free pencils to anybody who buys within the first week. So we just wanted to make sure you knew about that. We'll be sending out more details as the time gets a little bit closer, but just be on the lookout.
Yeah, and this is just one of many subjects that we approach in the classes. So if it's something you're interested in, the classes are a good way to go. And it will go on indefinitely as we just have fun drawing. Now, I want to thank you for watching this and giving us the wonderful opportunity to have your comments and your questions sent in. And just really appreciate it very much. It just really helps us be able to know what you're thinking and how to address your needs and hear the wonderful things that you have to say about your own experience.
Right. It's been so great to do these videos and get to have a little interaction with people and with you. And we thank you so much for your comments. And we hope that if you have any questions or concerns about this video, or if you want to ask a question about another topic, go ahead and leave it in the comments box just below this video. And I want to encourage you, if you haven't seen the first two videos, you can go over to the right-hand column beside this video, and you can watch the first and second video. There's a lot of great information in there that will really help you out and help this video make a little more sense. So again, thank you so much. We really appreciate it, and have fun drawing.
Yeah, well, we'll see you in the next video, and I appreciate you joining in. Thanks.